today.
Oh, you saw how tender it is? I didn't even have to make an effort.
We're tackling one of the classics.
And you're gonna do these without me. And you're gonna do so well that you're gonna wanna have me over.
Chilorio, a recipe that's sure to become a keeper in your home. I'm taking you step by step through this truly iconic Mexican staple, and we're using it two ways. First, a simple but perfectly satisfying antojito or light meal on a flour tortilla and covered in melty cheese, a sincronizada, and a crowd pleaser, eggs, corn tortillas. You see where I'm going here. Migas.
This is too good.
In Mexico, I'm taking you to the town known as the cradle of Chilorio in Sinaloa. And we need a little sweet to go with that savory Chilorio. I'm making a bizcotela cookie sandwich covered in crunchy sugar crystals and overloaded with cajeta.
This has now become my favorite cookie.
Dame, dame, dame tu chocolate, dame, dame, dame café caliente, dame, dame, dame tu corazón.
At the base of the Sierra Madre Mountains in the northern region of Mexico's state of Sinaloa, Mocorito is the kind of town you might drive right past on your way to somewhere else. But if by chance you stop to explore a little, you'll be so glad you did. The first settlers, Jesuit missionaries, built this church in the late 1500s. Mexico recently designated Mocorito a magic town for its natural beauty and historical significance. This is the kind of place I love to share with you. A tiny, charming, quiet little town with one major culinary claim to fame. Slow-simmered tender pork packed with flavor. Chilorio.
This is Victoria, and I had heard that she makes the most delicious chilorio in Mocorito. Mocorito is the mecca of chilorio, so if you're the expert of chilorio in Mocorito, then you've got it covered. Yo nunca he probado el chilorio en Sinaloa, solamente he probado el que venden, ya sabe, para exportar. Entonces, estoy muy emocionada de probar el de verdad. Y pero también veo que ahí tiene restaurante.
Sí. Tengo muchas fotos y tengo también mi pequeño museo.
Cuénteme, platíqueme,
Bueno,
platíqueme.
Los Tigres del Norte.
Los Tigres del Norte.
Son de aquí de Mocorito.
I didn't know, yo no sabía.
Y son mi familia.
No. If you don't know who los Tigres del Norte are, right now Google Tigres del Norte and then look at her and then you'll understand why I'm like... Y aquí está usted.
Sí, y ella es mi mamá
¿Es
y
su
una
mamá?
prima.
Ah, y aquí están comiendo chilorio.
Sí.
Y entonces, ¿cuántos años lleva haciendo chilorio usted?
Puedo decirle que los mismos 54 años, porque...
Desde niña.
Sí,
¿Cuántos años tiene usted?
70 los acabo de cumplir.
A ver, quítese los lentes que no tiene arrugas. No wrinkles. No wrinkles in Sinaloa. This is crazy. ¿Qué carne es?
Carne de puerco.
The reason why I love chilorio so much is because it's one ingredient that you can use in so many ways. No puedes poner chilorio en lasaña, en tamales, en arroz,
Pizza.
en pizza. Ya que tenemos la carne,
Se pone en la olla grande para que sea más rápido.
para que sea más rápido. The first time I used a pressure cooker, estaba haciendo frijoles y se explotó en todo el techo, la pared, todo. ¿Usted sabe lo que fue limpiar eso? So I don't use pressure cooker anymore. Se muelen los chiles con
Las especies.
orégano,
Laurel, ajo, pimienta. Se muele y ya se le pone la cantidad. Tomate, chile anajay y cebollita.
¿No le echa jugo de naranja?
No.
I've made chilorio for so many years and I've always added orange juice. And the queen of chilorio doesn't add orange juice. That was a myth. Okay.
Lleva poquito vinagre.
Vinegar. So maybe that's why I had orange juice. Okay. To give it that, para darle ese acidito.
Sí. Ya el chilorio ya lo tenemos aquí.
Yay! Al lado.
Ajá.
Simon says, whatever she does, I do. Estos son nopalitos.
Sí.
Así nada más sazonaditos. Amo los nopales. I love this kind of food.
A mí me gusta en taco.
A ver. Look at these. Doesn't crack, doesn't break, and I'm really going hard on it. See? Which tortilla have you seen that doesn't break? I'm gonna step on it to show you. No, I'm not gonna step on it to show you. I'm gonna eat it. ¡Qué delicia!
Gracias.
No pica nada, pero tiene mucho sabor. La carne está como que se deshace, pero también está doradita. Y con las verduritas así guisaditas.
El juguito.
Platíqueme. Bueno, ¿cómo llegó Mocorito a ser tan conocido por el chilorio?
Cuando vinieron los españoles, trajeron la receta. Pues aquí la prepararía, porque yo la historia que sé es de que ellos aquí prepararon el chilorio y se quedó.
¿Y usted qué quisiera que esa gente se lleve cuando vienen buscando el chilorio? ¿Qué le gustaría a usted que se lleven de Mocorito?
Una buena impresión de la gente de aquí, para que vayan y lo platiquen a sus tierras y esa misma gente va a hacer que otros vengan para acá.
Now I'm going to show you how you can make chilorio at home. Chilorio is pork shoulder or butt with all of the fat on, cooked until it falls apart, and then you finish it off in a dried chile sauce with vinegar. And what results is a most delicious seasoned, like shredded meat mix that is multi-purpose and can be used for 1,000 things. And you need to leave all of the fat on because all of that fat is gonna render and turn into lard. I have my casserole set over really high heat. I've been making chilorio for years now in the way that Mexicans from Mexico City make it, with the addition of a lot of orange juice. But when I went to Mocorito and tasted the real chilorio, I realized where that passion and that taste comes from. And I also realized why it is such a multi-purpose filling. I'm gonna add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. If it sticks to the pan, it's perfectly fine because you want all those browned bits. Once it's browned, we're gonna braise it because we want the meat to cook in liquid so it completely falls apart. So I'm adding 5 cups of water. And this cooks with the lid on for 1.5 hours. The pork butt now has cooked in its own juices, in its own lard. Most of the fat has rendered into the water, and the meat should be very tender. Let's see. Oh, you saw how tender it is? I didn't even have to make an effort. So it still needs a few minutes for this liquid to continue to evaporate. I'm gonna show you how to make the guajillo chile sauce, which is how the chilorio finishes cooking. A ton of guajillo chiles, like a ton, I mean a ton. I'm putting all these chiles in water here that's already boiling. A couple of bay leaves. 8 garlic cloves that I already peeled. I'm just gonna let these simmer for a few minutes. I want these chiles to become really, really meaty. There are many Mexican recipes that call for cooking the meat until very soft and then shredding it and then saucing it, but you shred it with your hands. This one calls for cooking until the cooking process forces the meat to shred and break on its own. It's quite extraordinary. I don't know how they thought about it, but we're getting to the point where I need to add the sauce, so let me finish making the sauce because the chiles are ready. Adding all of the chiles in here, the bay leaves, the garlic cloves, a cup of the cooking liquid, half a teaspoon of coriander seeds, a teaspoon of dried oregano, a pinch of cumin, half a teaspoon salt. You're with me. And then you're gonna do these without me. And you're gonna do so well that you're gonna wanna have me over for me to try. So, a quarter cup of white distilled vinegar. Recipes for chilorio range from 1 tablespoon vinegar to a cup of vinegar. So that means you add to your liking. Teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. I mean, I haven't even opened it, and look at the color. I need to send this clip of me making the chilorio to Victoria so she can see that I was a good student. I'm beating it with a lot of fuerza and determination, like she said. You can see what this turns into. It is like a dry Mexican bolognese of sorts. We want for the sauce to thicken so that this is not saucy, but just really moist. We want to see a darker color, and we want to see any fat that's in there rise to the top. So I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna let these finish cooking 10-15 minutes, but you have to keep your eye on it.
In Mocorito, the mecca for chilorio, you need to eat with the chilorio queen, Victoria. After that savory truly to die for chilorio, you might be in the mood for a little something sweet. Victoria has a perfect treat, just a short walk from her restaurant.
Es mi hija y mi
Es su
esposo.
hija. It's her daughter. So she has a restaurant, and her husband runs a grocery store of the town where they sell her chilorio. And he eats her chilorio, and she grew up eating her chilorio, and they seem very happy.
It turns out Victoria's family is your first stop for anything food in Mocorito.
Es la misma marca de su mami.
Sí.
Because just down the street, making another culinary staple of Sinaloa, is her sister Fabiola.
Ah, mira.
Sí, fuimos una familia muy grande
¿Cuántos
y todos
hijos?
emprendedores. Somos 15, fuimos 15.
15 siblings.
Ajá.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. Me faltan 3.
No, es que se fue.
Ah. Entonces, ¿tú eres la más grande?
Yo soy la mayor.
Y yo soy la más chica de las mujeres.
Entonces te toca lo dulce.
Sí.
Porque los chiquitos somos los más
Ajá.
dulces. Entonces, esta era casa
Por
de tus
acá,
papás.
por acá.
Sí.
Ah.
Fabiola has perfected the art of jamoncillo, a soft, sweet kind of caramel fudge beloved by Sinaloans and really all Mexicans alike. It comes in many ways: rolls, bite-sized pieces, or covering cookies along with nuts and fruits. The recipe sounds simple enough, just a few ingredients, but the process is a bit of an art form.
Raw milk.
Sí. Y lo único que se le agrega es azúcar.
Just milk and
Sí,
sugar.
es todo.
¿Cuánto acaba siendo?
En piezas o
En piezas.
En piezas, 20 piezas.
Y entonces le estás ahí meneando
Sí,
todo el
se
tiempo,
tiene
¿o te
que
puedes
estar-
ir?
No, me puedo ir 1 o 2 horas hasta que ya llega el término de unas 3 horas. Ya sí, ya no me puedo ir.
When you go like that with the paddle and you can leave a trace and you can see the bottom of the pot, then you know you have to stop the fire.
Ajá.
And then, Fabi says, you have to stir it like this 500 times and wait for it to cool down. That's what she said.
Muchas veces.
Sí, entonces hace mucho brazo.
Sí.
Sí.
Aquí le faltó como unas media hora más
Ajá.
para pasar a esta, ya está más.
Ay, huele. Además, híjole, huele delicioso.
También en el olor sé yo cuando ya
you smell?
está el punto.
So she says that at this point, you know when it's ready not only by how it looks, but by the smell. And it smells like
es diferente la
cooked
consistencia.
candy. Sí, 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 sí.
Porque si se fija aquí ya tiene otra consistencia más,
Me sabe a cuando era chiquita. ¿Cómo es? Me pregunta que cómo es que dos hermanas se hicieron tan conocidas y especialistas en dos platillos tan icónicos de Sinaloa.
Pero, por ejemplo, a ella quizá este trabajo no le gusta. Y a mí su trabajo de estar allá, pues tampoco. Entonces, yo me aboqué más a lo que es lo dulce. Y ella, pues, también lo realiza, pero su fuerte de ella es la
comida.
I love that. So you do the savory and you do the sweet. Uy, está... Sí,
Aquí
ya.
están las cucharas.
Sí, ya. Es que sabe a...
Yeah, naturally.
It's really good.
Earlier, when Victoria was teaching us her Chilorio recipe, another one of her sisters, Marta, was in the kitchen making cookies. They're adorable and they're called bizcotelas. She was kind enough to share her recipe with me.
And I love them so much that I'm not only making them, but I'm dressing them up. A pound of unsalted butter. Turn these on to medium speed. High speed. Okay, so now that my butter is super creamy and soft, I'm going to add a cup of sugar. Let these two come together and become creamy and soft. Now I'm adding the eggs. There are 4. A teaspoon vanilla extract. I love these cookies. First of all, I was intrigued with how Marta was shaping them and cutting them, and I really wanted to learn how she was making that beautiful flower shape. It turns out it's easy and it's so charming and so beautiful, but then the taste is just simple and sweet and crumbly and delightful. You're gonna see. I'm going to mix my dry ingredients. I have 8 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a generous pinch of salt. Mix these a little, and then we're just going to alternate. I'm going to add a little bit of the flour mix and a little bit of the milk. I have a cup of whole milk. In Sinaloa, they make these cookies for an everyday cookie. It's just a cookie you have just there at home for breakfast or like after lunch or after dinner or with coffee. And I'm gonna show you how I made them even more special for me in 1 second. This recipe makes between 50 and 60 individual cookies, but we're gonna turn them into irresistible sugar dulce de leche bizcotela sandwiches. You make balls of dough of about 1 inch to 1.5 inches and then flatten them a little. This is what you do to make that flower shape. And it's not as difficult as it looks. It's really easy. Come, I'm gonna show you. You're gonna cut it 5 times like this. 5. You press it a little in the center. Now, in Sinaloa, they make them just like these and they bake them, but we are going to dress them with crystal sugar. I mean, look at this dressed bizcotela. It's beautiful. My oven is at 350 and I'm gonna put them in there anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes, just until the bottoms and the edges begin to brown. Now that my chilorio is ready, and it is looking so lovely, and I'm going to use this chilorio 2 ways. One of the simplest things to do if you have your chilorio ready is a quesadilla. So I'm going to grab a flour tortilla because flour tortillas and cheese and chilorio go really well together. And this is quesadilla cheese. I'm gonna add my chilorio. You know what? I changed my mind because I overstuffed these so much that I'm gonna stuff it a little bit more. And instead of a quesadilla, I'm gonna turn it into a sincronizada. It has one tortilla in the bottom and one tortilla in the top, and it just allows you to add more stuff. In Mexico, we do really big lunches or comidas, and we do very light dinners. And these used to be like really 3 out of 4 nights a week, we used to have sincronizadas. I'm gonna add some of the Chilorio fat. Oh, yes. The flour tortillas are super crunchy on the outside, and they have all the flavor from the Chilorio, and then you have the cheese that has melted into the Chilorio, and with the avocado, this is so good. So this is just one of the things that you can make with Chilorio. Think about 1,000 possibilities. If you buy the Chilorio or make the Chilorio and you have it handy, then you can make this in a snap. One of my favorite ways to eat Chilorio is in migas. Migas is like a wet version of chilaquiles with scrambled eggs, and you want to add some kind of delicious saucy meat. And that's what Chilorio is. It just goes so well with migas. So we have some corn tortillas, and with a little bit of the oil, they're gonna start to crisp. And I'm gonna add my vegetables for these Chilorio migas. 1/2 cup of white chopped onion. And then I'm gonna dice an Anaheim chile. And I really started using the Anaheim when I got back from Sinaloa. This is a chile that I haven't used in my kitchen, that I'm growing to love. It tastes a little bit like a green bell pepper, no heat. I'm gonna add some tomatoes, a little bit of salt, pepper. I'm gonna add my Chilorio. Sinaloans are incredibly proud about the Chilorio. You can see how this is coming together, and you can see how the Chilorio is now cooking with the onion and the tomato and the Anaheim. See, this is what we're looking for, because we cooked the tortillas there for a while. See how they're soft on one side, they're getting hard, the outside and crispy. Love, love, love. Some salt. I'm gonna scramble the eggs. I have 8. This is a delicious mess. Just look at this. Pickled onions, crumbled queso, drizzle some crema. This is too good. You have your whole meal there now. This is great for breakfast, for brunch, for lunch, but this is also great for a light dinner meal. These are the bizcotelas. They look adorable already. Snap the petals off and it's like a biscuit that wants to be a cookie. We're gonna take these to the top. I'm gonna add some cajeta, Mexico's dulce de leche. Crazy delicious. This is the perfect ending to so many things. I think this has now become my favorite cookie.